Hi, good morning. My name's Paula and I work for United Utilities. And we're
Do you mean a water company?
Yes, that's right. We're based in Warrington. And the reason I've contacted you is at the end of April we're going to be employing a deaf person who communicates in BSL. So I just wanted some advice really, as this is the first time that we've ever employed a deaf person in our centre. So any advice you could give me, that will be really appreciated.
Absolutely. So first thing you need to do is contact Access to Work ATW or DWP. It's easy to do online and it has a phone number and things, and you can phone and explain. So they won't start anything now, she knows that, but they will give you some advice. So on the day that your deaf person starts, you need to ring ATW then and explain. Send off a copy of the job description, because they want to see like the role that she'll be doing. So they'll probably ask the deaf lady or yourself to, what will you do every day in your job? Like for it's like hospital in a diary, like today I need to make a phone call, you know, I need letter translations, or I need somebody in meetings, and then they will look at that and work out how many hours of support this person will need. For example, for herself, she's a community liaison officer and she works 35 hours and she also gets 35 hours support. So she gets full support with her, and that's making phone calls, translation of letters, emails, and like regular meetings and things. So they'll go together in the meeting, but also just to make you not aware, when you do organise a meeting and you have, it's going to be more than an hour, she recommends you have 2 interpreters there. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, if we have to wait until the first day that they start, how long is the process? So when will they be given their budget to book interpreters? Is it quite a lengthy process? I'm just worried about them having access in the beginning.
Can you say that again, please? Sorry, I just have to repeat that again for me. So she's more than happy to. So on the first day that your deaf person starts, she's more than happy to come in with her interpreter and can sort of have a conversation and ring and ATW make a new application and explain, you know, about the interpreter job and the responsibilities. And like finding the interpreter to, you know, to support them. It doesn't have to be the same interpreter for the full week. It can be 2, 3, 4 different interpreters, you know, taking it in turns. Something like, or it can be like the same one every day. So Access to Work usually asked for ask them to advise for the 3 preferred interpreters for this person. So ask them the specific questions and pass on to ATW. Does that help?
It does help. I'd really appreciate that if you wouldn't mind coming in on the first day. I think the starting end of April, but I will check with HR start date, and then I will email you. Hopefully you'll be available on that day.
Another recommendation for you is for you I can't think of the word, the induction day, sorry, induction day, yeah. For her, she thinks it would be better to book an interpreter for the person's induction day, you know, about half an hour or for whatever, for your benefit really, so that deaf person gets all the information, you know, especially about health and safety, and you know, and talk about like the new roles and sort out like bank details and things. She wouldn't be involved. She'll like come to your office and talk about like access to work and things with her interpreter, then we'll go. And then it might be worth booking an interpreter now for that one day, just like because your company will pay for the one day. You know, just to make sure like to get to develop information about health and safety and that important kind of information.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll look into that.
And if you want more information about interpreters, she's happy to help also.
Thank you, appreciate that. Secondly, obviously I want to make the individual feel as comfortable as possible. And I believe that MSTP offer training. You can provide some awareness training and some sign language training. What would you recommend?
You have that there. So recommend to contact MSDP Training Development, and then they will deliver deaf awareness training. Can be like a half day, a full day. Also mention wanted some sign language training. And then again, access the same as well. The same again for the deaf awareness training and sign language training. And then maybe get some like for your staff to have like some like BSL level 1 training or something. I'm sure they can like visit your workplace and to deliver the level 1 BSL level 1 as well as the deaf awareness training.
Do you know roughly how long a level 1 course takes to achieve? Is it over how many weeks?
I think about 21 weeks. It's usually 3 hours a week.
Maybe.
But you know, if you're really good and you sort of get lots in there, maybe it could be a bit quicker. So you don't need like specific signs and things like that. You could just do like your basic signs like hi, good morning. You know, like involved in an exam is things like colour and food and the weather. That was like the kind of thing you would need. But it's worth having a chat anyway. Like a different specific course, like places, like yeah, okay.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So would that be something that maybe the Access to Work would fund, or would that be something that we have to cover the costs for?
She's not too sure, to be honest. She's got a feeling it's your company that are going to have to pay for the deaf awareness course. But it is worth contacting Access to Work. You know, they may fund, they may not, but she has no idea. But again, it's worth asking.
Okay. Also, I just wanted to talk about, you mentioned about health and safety before. Is there any equipment that we need to put in place? I'm just thinking we've only got a sounding fire alarm, and I'm assuming that wouldn't be appropriate for the deaf person. So, any information you could give would be really useful.
So 2 things. So that's talking about the fire alarm. And one is you can contact the fire and rescue service and they will come out and assess, and we'll see where she sits and make sure she can, you know, has got a good visual of flashing lights and things. And they can change it to red flashing lights for her, you know, if the fire alarm was to go off. And then another thing is you can get equipment, like it could be carried on the pocket, a bit like a pager, and the fire alarm went off. So for example, if she's not sat in the office all the time and moving around, it may be worth having this pack on her. But again, it's best to contact Access to Work, because the MSDP do the pager, but not sure if that will be provided to your workplace. That's more of like a home base that would use this pager kind of thing.
Right.
But
is there any other equipment that we need to think about aside from fire alarms?
Like, as you know, like laptops now have like video cameras, all laptops have videos, so you can like have things to create meetings, have Zoom meetings and things, so I just can't really think of any other equipment, because the only thing to think of again is the visual fire alarm, the pager. Like, because you have support with like telephone calls and things. I mean, it depends on the deaf person. Maybe that deaf person, again, it depends on the deaf person. You have to assess what they want. ATW would do that. They have to assess the deaf person, because they might not need BSL language. They might speak really well. You know, it could be just like, so like making phone calls and things. ATW would be assessing the deaf person themselves and seeing what they need specifically.
Okay.
For her, it's best to not judge. It's best to ask. You know, what do you need? You know, happy to help. You know, are you okay in the phone call? You know, do you use BSL or, yeah. Because she remembers last week she was in the bank, she was in there, and then somebody was making a phone call to the bank. So somebody said she was hard of hearing, she told them they were deaf. So she said, no, I'm not hard of hearing. And they were saying, oh no, she's deaf. So they've just assumed, really. So they've just judged. No, some people don't like saying that she's deaf, prefer hard of hearing, it's a nice way. She's like, no, well, I'm deaf, you know, so don't judge is what she's trying to make.
So maybe discuss that in the induction then.
So, Thursday, ask them what they need.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, one more question. Just thinking about the layout of the office. It's quite a big, open plan, noisy office. A lot going on, a lot of staff. Would the deaf person be comfortable, do you think, in a big open plan office, or would they prefer maybe a smaller room if they've got an interpreter with them, if they need quiet? What do you recommend?
So if you put them in like the little room by themselves, she wouldn't. Put them in a big room with everybody else, you know, face to face with people, you know, not against a wall kind of thing, yeah. Needs to be able to see everybody, you know, to wave hello and say good morning, things, that would be better. But if you need to make maybe a private phone call, things like it's too nosy, do you have like a private, do you have like a hot desk?
We
Use
do.
hot desk?
We have 2 small rooms that are accessible.
Perfect. You can go in there, like make a phone call, conversation, translate and sign and go back to the office and then with everybody else.
Okay, alright, thank you for that. If I think of anything else, can I send you an email just to check, just to clarify?
Yeah, contact you. He'll give you your email address,
Okay.
not a problem.
Alright, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
13 minutes.